How do you stay motivated on a big vision? Not a 1 year business plan, but a big vision. A vision for your life in 3 years, 5 years, whatever that might be. How can you stay motivated on something so long term when often people struggle just to achieve making one video a day for 30 days? With big visions, it's important to have a really, really good reason why. My vision has always been to retire abroad. By retire, I mean where I will live once the kids are fully grown up. So when I came back to the UK as a single parent, they were 3, 5 and 10. And really daily survival was the vision. But now we're 3 to 4 years off the youngest, finishing school and going on to university. That vision is more of a reality. So part of that process has been, why do I want to move abroad? I want a fresh start, a life for me, a smaller property, somewhere warm. I'm sorry, I love England to death, but the British winters really get to me. Sometimes the British summers really get to me. So my why has always been there. Another thing to do is to set the actual goal and visualize it. So I visualize what it's going to be like, what it's going to look like. I have to remind myself sometimes the kids won't visit that often, that I will be alone, that I don't need such a big property. I have to visualize a slightly slower pace of life, being in a foreign country, what I will have to do to make friends in that country, that type of thing. So I know roughly, I can visualize that goal. A bit like an athlete is to use mental visualization to imagine, say, they're a runner crossing the finishing line. I think the ability to visualize what your goal will look like as well as know what your why is very motivating in itself. Then I think with a long term, you have to break that down into intermediate real goals, what I call real, away from the vision board, but actually how do we go about achieving that? So for me, that is over the next 3 to 4 years, it's getting this house to a maximum sale price, which means that as each child leaves, their bedroom gets stripped out and taken back to a very neutral palette where you can see the maximum size of the room. I'm currently having a garden room built and extending the patio, partly for my benefit, because I will have another 3 to 4 years here, but I'm keeping a very tight cap on the spend so that I know I will get the value back when I sell the property. I never overspend. I've done up kitchens here, I've knocked down walls, I've put in bathrooms, and I have never ever treated myself to anything expensive going into that process because I want my full value back. So intermediate goals to achieve your vision. Mine are, like I say, clearing the house, getting it done up gradually, creating maximum value on this property for when it sells. Obviously that's strategic as well, and you should have a strategy to achieve your goal, but you also need to be flexible. I'll give you an example as to why. I always envisaged Spain, but since then Brexit happened, so who knows? So I look at Spain, I look at Portugal, I look at Cyprus, but none of these may be possible. It might have to be further afield. It might even have to be digital nomads. So my home is in the UK and it's just me and my suitcase and my 3-month tourist visa going from Airbnb to Airbnb. That sounds like fun too for a little while. So there's a strategy to achieve maximum value out of this house. There's a strategy of going abroad to visit different areas in Europe, but there's also a sort of backup plan and a flexible plan should Brexit completely change everything. Get help if you need it. None of my strategies could happen without some help. Whether that's help from the builder doing up the house and building the garden room, or help from an estate agent in selling the house, or help from a solicitor in doing the paperwork. You need help to achieve a long-term vision, and you need to ask for that help or pay for that help, however that help happens. I think when you set a big vision or a long-term goal, you do have to think about the times where you will be demotivated. A 5-year goal is a long-term thing, and there are going to be days and weeks and possibly even months where you're not motivated towards that long-term goal. If you acknowledge that at the beginning and have some strategies for dealing with that demotivation, you will be able to handle it better. One way to handle demotivation is to revisit your original vision, to look at your reasons why, to look at your strategies, to see how far you've come, and see if you need to change it. Has your priorities, have they changed? You know, life moves on, it ebbs and flows. It might be that your priorities have changed and you need to tweak that vision a bit. That's fine. Write the new vision, write the new plan. Alongside that, there's always remembering the big picture. The big picture for me was always a little house in the sun, and that's my big picture. It may happen in a slightly different format to the one I originally envisioned. So one way to stay motivated is remember what that big vision originally was. Might have changed slightly, but it's probably still part of your core being.